average horse weighing 1,000 pounds will produce about 50 pounds of manure and between 2 and 3 gallons of urine every day. To this must be added the soiled bedding taken out of the stalls and the manure piles collected from the pasture. Just 4 horses kept in stalls can make 160,000 pounds of manure and wet bedding per year. Most equine facilities use their available land for pastures or working arenas, so they typically pay to haul their waste away. This is a significant expense on the ledger. Even so, the manure problem is typically not being well managed, and this material will end up either in the landfill or being illegally dumped somewhere. The reality these days is that horses are kept for the purposes of breeding, competition, or recreation. They are typically housed in high-intensity facilities where pasture grazing, their natural state, is a luxury, restricted sometimes to an hour each day per horse. This is because pasture space is limited and because of the need to allow pastures to rest and recover. This is where manure composting comes to the rescue. Horse manure is a valuable resource if well managed. It is a valuable source of nitrogen for the compost mix. It is totally organic, with trash excluded. The expense of managing this waste stream could find its way to the positive side of the ledger in terms of contributing to the community transfer station or cheaper recycled bedding. As an organic fertilizer, there is nothing better. If improperly managed, however, it can be a source of water pollution, it can contaminate drinking water, it can cause odor problems, it attracts flies, parasites and other pests, and it can harm livestock, wildlife and fish. Owners and managers of equine facilities must get on top of this problem. Soon, state and local authorities will mandate compliance. For instance, New Jersey now requires that all livestock farms proactively address and manage pollution originating from livestock operations. All livestock producers must meet the requirements of the Animal Waste Management Rule. Farms with more than 8 animals, equivalent to 1,000 pounds of animal weight, must comply with the rules, as well as drawing up and filing an animal waste management plan on their farm. Other states will soon follow with legislation of their own. Those states most at risk for legislation follows the density of the horse population: Texas, California, Florida, Oklahoma, Kentucky, Ohio, Missouri, and Virginia. The goals of manure management are to utilize manure nutrients for enhancing the soil, protect the health and safety of the public, livestock and wildlife, and prevent surface and groundwater contamination. Oxygen is an essential ingredient for successful composting. Without sufficient oxygen, the process becomes anaerobic, producing the rotten egg smell of hydrogen sulfide gas. Oxygen concentrations greater than 10% are considered optimal for maintaining aerobic composting. Optimum conditions are maintained by active aeration and thorough mixing of the compost ingredients. The carbon to nitrogen ratio, the C/N ratio, is essential since microbes need 20 to 25 times more carbon than nitrogen to remain active. In general, brown or woody materials are high in carbon, such as wood shavings, shredded paper, sawdust, or autumn leaves. Materials that are green and are moist tend to be high in nitrogen, such as manure or green vegetation. Anyone who's ever worked with horses knows that mucking out is hard work. The material is heavy and there's usually a lot of it. In order to process barn waste on a large scale, serious equipment is required. Like the name of the manufacturer, these windrow turners are built Frontier Tough, and the company has a wide range of equipment in sizes and specifications to suit any customer. Many of our customers have tried other equipment and come to us with a failed project on their hands. However, once they have a Frontier windrow turner, they typically only sell their turners in order to move up the range to a turner with a higher capacity because they are growing their business. That is fine, because we always refit and service their turners and help them find a buyer, where a reconditioned machine will assist another growing business handle larger volume with a lower equipment outlay. Frontier has a patent on its drum and paddle assembly. This technology aerates the windrow material as it mixes, left to right, right to left, top to bottom, bottom to top, and inside out. The paddles create two circulating airflows to bring in oxygen while purging carbon dioxide. Each pass through the material further reduces particle size without pulverizing or compacting the material in the windrow. The combination of airflow and physical throw of the paddles shape the compost windrow into its optimum shape and porosity. The resulting oxygenation and mixing yields extreme microbial population growth, producing rapid over-free composting. 100% mixing, 100% aeration, plus zero compacting, plus odor control. This results in top quality compost all the time. Frontier has several models available in their straddle turner range, catering for windrow widths from 7 feet all the way up to 20 feet. Ideal for small farms, nurseries, dairies, and golf courses dealing with manure, yard trimmings, leaves, straw, and other organic material, the Mighty Mike is towed behind a tractor with a hydrostatic gear in order to control the forward speed. This is a new addition to the Frontier model range, the new self-propelled Mighty Mike. Equipped with a 4x4 all-wheel drive, it is suitable for both indoor or outdoor composting. The Creech composting facility is located in the bluegrass region of Kentucky, home to some 450 working horse farms, and as such is a particularly appropriate case study for this audience. Creech uses a Frontier F20 straddle turner and produces about 35,000 cubic yards of top quality compost annually. Their product, Thoroughbred Compost, is rated in the top 1% of compost produced in the United States. A short video clip follows describing their facility.
The thoroughbred capital of the world. And as these majestic animals roam and romp through central Kentucky's pastures, they dream about a future run for the roses. But in fact, a byproduct of these mighty beasts may grow the roses to be used in that first week of May. You see, these horses are bedded on straw in barns and stalls, and the muck that is removed from them is transported to this facility to be turned into thoroughbred compost. The process begins when trucks from area farms haul the collected muck to Creech Services Incorporated's composting facility just east of Lexington, Kentucky, where it is dumped into windrows approximately 1,100 feet long. The trucks form 2 rows at a time, which takes about a week. Then they move to the other side of the 10-acre concrete compost pad. These windrows are then shaped and turned twice by a Frontier turner capable of handling rows 20 feet wide and over 8 feet tall. After the initial 2 turnings, the windrows are watered and turned several more times until the material reaches a moisture rate of 40 to 50%. To ensure proper composting, temperatures are taken daily, and a constant reading of between 140 and 170 degrees must be maintained to assure that beneficial microbes are not killed off during the process. Once the compost begins to cook, it loses volume as the microbes begin to break down the carbon in the material. After about 2 weeks, we can combine 2 windrows into 1, and eventually we will have combined 4 windrows into 1. During the combining of windrows, we move them toward the center of our concrete compost pad. This allows us to make sure the bottoms of the piles, which may have been missed by the turner, are composting as well. Windrows are moved a minimum of 5 times during the composting process, and their volume decreases between 80 to 85%. As we move from windrow to windrow, you begin to see the dark, rich color emerge as the piles age. Once consistency and color are reached, the piles are then moved to a stockpiling area, where they will wait to be sold. About a day or 2 before sale, the compost will be screened one last time to remove any oversized material, and a clean, friable, consistent product is now available. This dark, rich compost can be utilized in a variety of ways: as an organic fertilizer, as an organic soil amendment, as an organic growing medium, as top dressing for grazing pastures and manicured turf areas, or as a mulching product. As you can see, there are any number of uses for thoroughbred compost. Compost experts have learned that 1 ton of truly composted material is equal to 3 to 5 times the amount of other materials stockpiled and ground up before sale. So not only are you getting a superior product, you can now use less material and less time with better results. Successful composting, like balanced human nutrition, requires the proper combination of food, water, and oxygen. The benefits of thoroughbred compost are also very apparent. Great pains have been used to create a consistent composting environment to ensure that thoroughbred compost will have a carbon to nitrogen ratio of between 12 to 1 and 20 to 1. This ratio is much more desirable than most wood-based mulches, whose ratios can be as high as 100 to 1, which may rob your soil of important nitrogen. Thoroughbred compost's carbon to nitrogen ratio will add organic matter and nitrogen to your soil, hence increasing the microbial activity. Also, thoroughbred compost will help suppress disease, be weed seed free, and has a water holding capacity up to 4 times its weight. And finally, as a soil amendment, mulch, or top dressing, thoroughbred compost will be consistent, predictable, and will maintain a finished appearance. Don't take our word for it. Let's listen to some real people and businesses as they talk about their real-life experience with this amazing product.
We use thoroughbred compost on the areas of our gallop that have become extremely compacted in dry weather. We found that the thoroughbred compost maintained the moisture level at a high enough level that the gallop became spongy and much more forgiving for the horses. Also then we found that the micronutrients that it ignited really helped the grass to become extremely lush, and that portion of the gallop is much greener than the rest of the gallop now.